Yeah. There we go. All right. So I'm here with Hilary and Susan, and we're making this for our leader team members because this month we want to talk about a technique called speaker listener technique, which sounds geeky. But, I first learned about speaker listener when Matt and I, we were 3 years into marriage. So this was 23 years ago now, and we were struggling with how to really achieve good communication. And someone introduced us to Fighting for Your Marriage, which was a book. And we ended up learning the speaker listener technique. And it really, really helped our marriage and our missions team that we were a part of. And it helped us so much that Matt and I ended up getting certified as trainers with Fighting for Your Marriage. And then we took those skills to all the mission teams in Uruguay. And we became known kind of as the gurus of helping teams communicate in conflict in Uruguay. So that's just a little background for how speaker listener has been effective for me. But I also wanted to hear Susan and Hilary share briefly what speaker listener has helped them achieve or how it's been helpful. And then I'd love for us to model it together if we can. So Susan, you're up.
Yeah. I think for me, I probably got introduced to it from my dad, which no big surprise there. But just as a way to kind of slow things down in the midst of a difficult or heated conversation, and just slow down and do a really good job listening to each other. And it's not easy, especially when there's heated emotions that are involved. It's hard to slow down. It's hard to really focus on the other person and not just think about, well, what am I going to say in response? You really almost have to put yourself to the side and focus on the other person. And then I think another thing that's been really tough for me to get a hold of is it's not about whether or not I've heard what they said. It's about whether or not they feel like I have heard them. And that's a huge, huge difference. And really, I think is what makes speaker listener important and different from just having a conversation.
So it's not necessarily something you would use all the time, like your husband walks in and says, let's go get Chinese. And you say, oh, so you say you'd like to go get Chinese tonight? Like that might be a little irritating, right?
Yeah.
So when things are going well and communication's happening, maybe not necessary.
Yeah.
But when, your husband comes in and says, you didn't take out the trash today?
Yeah.
I want to go, oh, maybe we should use speaker listener here because I'm already mad at him. No, okay, so something like that.
You sound like you're a little upset about this.
Like you're upset. So someone likened it to me, with me to an intersection, right? When you're on the highway, you're just driving like 80 miles an hour and it feels fun and great. But when you come up to a stoplight, you got to slow down or you're going to hurt people. And those stoplights sometimes rise up inside of us when we feel a lot of emotion. And if we keep plowing at 80 miles an hour, when these stoplights hit us, we could crash into each other in damaging ways. So, Hilary, what about you? How has it been helpful for you or anything else you'd like to share about?
I'm not sure of the first time I learned it or it was used on me, because you can do it secretly without anybody knowing. Fun. But the time that I remember training and helping others was actually as a coach for a program in the United States called Girls on the Run, which helps, I think it's like 3rd grade to 6th grade girls, not only be active and run, but also like teaches them lessons on how to be a good friend, how to be like a good person. And, one of the things we talked about was conflict. And resolution and what we do and everything. And it was broken down a little differently. So a 3rd grader to a, 5th grader could understand it. But it was the same concepts. And I've used it with children. I've used it with my marriage and my friends. I personally, I like using it covertly and coaching the person into their side. I That's just what I do.
Beautiful. So it doesn't have to feel contrived and fake. Once you know how it flows, it can actually feel really, really comforting to someone else who's being listened to, right? Who's being heard. So, and then we've used it. All three of us have had the chance to use it together in multiple occasions with conflict. It's been beautiful. And I think it's helped us connect heart to heart in really difficult matters of the heart. So I would love to practice and just define it real quick and practice it. And when we practice doing it, a lot of times we don't use conflicting matters, right? We just use something normal like, what's your idea of an ideal vacation? And we just talk about it and we practice it back and forth so that we know that we can use the skill properly, so that when we need it, we have it, right? But basically it's this: one person takes the speaker role. So I'm going to have Hilary take a speaker role when we practice, and one person takes the listener role, and I'll have Susan. A lot of times we actually use something like this. So I would give this to Hilary and say, Hilary, you've got the pen. There you go, the floor, the pen. So you're the speaker, and Susan will be the listener. And the speaker's job is to speak in short sentences if possible. So the speaker's job is to not go on and on and on and on for 5 minutes and expect Susan to reflect back what they're saying. But they're going to go in short sentences, which takes a lot of training, honestly, to do that with yourself. So a lot of times the listener might have to say, whoa, can you stop so I can repeat back what you're saying? So short sentences, and then give the listener a chance to repeat back what you're saying. So you take pauses, right? Now, the listener's job is going to be to only restate what they hear the speaker saying or ask clarifying questions. So you can ask a clarifying question, but you cannot rebuttal or say your story or what you think happened or anything like that. Yeah? Make sense? Okay.
Yep.
So why don't we just model it? What do we want to use? We could throw anything in there.
I already got one.
You have one. Okay. What's the topic?
The best first thing to eat in the morning.
Okay, great.
Okay.
It's the best first thing to eat in the morning, Hilary.
So I feel like a green juice or a smoothie is the best thing to be eating. It has greens, you can add tea, it's very versatile. And if you have a Vitamix, you can like blend it to smithereens so that it's smooth, so you don't get those nasty chunks. And it's been a beautiful ritual in my life for some time. And then I go into seasons, and sometimes they're not green at all, but it's just cranberries, just blended up. And that is the only way that you should eat things in the morning. Be greens like alfalfa sprouts or broccoli sprouts.
You might say, can you stop now, pause, and let me repeat back what you hear me saying? I mean, what I hear you saying.
So I hear you saying that you feel that the best option for first thing in the morning to have to eat, drink, is a green type smoothie that's got very nutritious greens, alfalfa, and some of the other things you were starting to tell me about. And it sounds like a packet of some kind of vitamin mix that you can blend in there and not have to taste. And taste or yeah.
Sorry, that was a blender, the Vitamix.
Okay.
It's
cool.
a brand blender.
Good.
Okay, cool.
Good.
Thank you for that clarifying amount. But you find that this green smoothie is, in your opinion, the very best thing to have in the first thing in the morning, first thing you should eat when you get up.
Good. And then you can say the magic phrase that your dad always says, right? What is it?
Do you feel like I've heard what you've said?
I mean, like, it's like the only thing you should eat, but correctly.
So you feel very strongly that this is the only thing that a healthy, smart person would use.
Oh, you're not laughing. Yes, I feel heard.
Good. So now Hilary would give the pen to the floor to Susan, right? And then Susan, you may share now what you think is the absolute best thing you're supposed to eat in the morning, what that might be. Now, it could be the same, it could be different. You might not even have an opinion right now.
Different.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with different, because I'm just like that. I think that the very best thing to have first thing in the morning is a cup of English toffee cappuccino, because it's nice and sweet and probably not good for me. But I can sit on the couch and have my dogs and drink my coffee, and it's just a very restful and peaceful. And that's what, because you're just getting up in the morning, you're just waking up, and it helps you center and focus. And that's what I think needs to happen first thing in the morning.
Hilary.
Should I respond correctly or not correctly?
Yes, respond correctly. We're modeling good behavior.
Oh, good. You gotta know what to do in bad behavior as well. Susan, I hear you saying that we should only drink. I don't remember the name of the cappuccino. Was it English toffee cappuccino?
English toffee cappuccino.
An English toffee, I'm assuming hot English toffee cappuccino first thing in the morning, because it's sugary and it might not be good for you, but you can rest with your dogs on the couch with it.
Yes, it's a centering focus time. So it's the ambiance of the time.
I'm drinking the coffee.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you feel understood? Yeah. Do you feel like I've heard you?
Yes.
Beautiful.
I
So
get it.
very well done, ladies. And we will. I know Hilary was probably modeling some mischievous things as she was sharing, and I didn't point them out, but I do want to point them out. One of the common mistakes that we make when we start talking to each other is we use the words "I feel," but then no feeling words come after them at all. Thank you, Hilary. I knew she was doing that on purpose. So we'll say something like, well, I feel like greens are the best thing we need to eat. Okay, that's not a feeling at all. That's a thought. I think that greens are the best thing, right? Sometimes it comes out like, I feel like you are being a jerk. Okay, well, no, you can't feel like someone's being a jerk. That's not a feeling. You can think that. It might seem to you like that person's acting like a jerk, but you can't feel that, right? So we try to separate I feel from our thoughts. And if we're going to say I feel, we try to use feeling words, right? So I feel excited when I think about having greens for breakfast. I feel frustrated when I see other people not drinking greens for breakfast, right? Okay, so those are feeling words, right?
Yeah.
I believe greens are the best. You could say that, right? I believe strongly that greens are the best. I think that. I believe that. I don't feel it, okay? So we definitely, if we're talking about our feelings, we want to talk about feelings and try to keep that language very clear for each other, because we connect heart to heart. And our feelings are the window to our soul, right? And so it just helps us get real clear about what our feelings are and what our feelings aren't. Thank you, Hilary. So that's what it looks like And in our Church of Twos this week, we're going to try to practice that, which shouldn't be hard because we already do restating, right? And it's the same thing, really. So when someone checks in and shares what they're feeling, I'm feeling scared, angry, and happy, scared because, angry because, happy because, you can practice the listener. So you just said you feel scared, angry, happy, scared this, happy this, whatever, and repeat back what you hear them saying. And in that, you're practicing speaker listener as you take turns, right? So that you can do that all week and use fun stuff to get to know each other and practice that. And then possibly in our leader teams this month, we might even use some heavier topics to talk about. As we've shared in the leader lesson, a video and some other things that might just stir up some conflict in our leader teams. Not that that's what we want to do, but we want to give you tools to talk about these things together in a healthy, safe way. Any other comments or thoughts about speaker listener?
Toni, I wonder about saying something about I statements versus you statements.
Good, thank you. Yeah, that's really, really, really good. Hilary, you want to hit that one? I'm putting you on the spot. So.
I'm trying to decide if I want to. So in the same manner where people say, I feel like greens are the only thing, it can be, I feel like you are always telling me to drink greens. One, it's not a feeling, and then two, we just hear what's happening. So that's the you statement. I'm speaking, but all I'm doing is talking about you. So really bringing it down to the I feel like a disgrace and that I should be doing better every time you tell me, or every time I hear, drink your greens.
Yeah.
And I get upset and I cry. That is, like, you heard way more than just, I feel like you always tell me to drink greens.
Good, good. And yeah, so we want to speak from our heart and from our perspective. So we call it the XYZ statement, which is a lot, getting two bangs for the buck, but it's when you say this in this situation, I feel this, right? So whenever this type of thing happens, whenever you tell me to drink my greens, I feel pressured. I feel like a failure, right? So I'm saying when this happens, this circumstance, I feel this way. I'm not saying you're accusing me of being a failure, or you think I'm a failure, right? That's the way that would come across, not speaking from an I statement. Yeah. Thank you. Very important. When we talk to each other, we want to speak from our experience and our emotions. Yeah. Anything else? Great.
I was going to caution on the you never, or it's the only thing, or always, using those types of words. Like, it's the only thing you can drink in the morning. You should never eat anything else. And I would love for you, Toni, to talk more about why they are dangerous.
Right. Extreme words like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not always, and we're never, right? Sometimes we're always, and sometimes we're not. So yeah, whenever we use extreme words like that, we throw people into their amygdala immediately, right? So if I'm saying, I feel like you never take out the trash, the only thing the person is thinking is, I take out the trash. You better believe I take out the trash, right? Because they're going to prove you wrong. So they didn't hear anything about what you feel. Well, you didn't share anything what you feel either, right? So you can see how that's causing lots of problems there, and you're not achieving heart-to-heart connection. Whereas if I say, I feel abandoned in our housework, because it seems to me like I'm taking out the trash more often, right? So that person might actually hear what I'm saying now, because I didn't say always, I'm always taking out the trash. You're never taking it out. Yeah. I said, I feel abandoned because it seems like I am doing it more frequently, right? So when we can avoid those extreme words, we keep people in the conversation. Yeah, as opposed to triggering them and then losing them. Yeah, well done. You guys are like pros. It's exciting. All right, anything else? We've gone on for some time. This might be more than most people can handle. So thank you all of our leaders for joining us for this conversation on speaker listener and how to communicate well. Far from over, this conversation, and it's far from ideal, but hopefully it's enough to get us started on practicing this and talking about it in our leader teams this month. we love you guys and all of you, and know that conflict is inevitable and healthy, and we want to learn how to navigate it well, heart to heart. So thanks a lot. Talk to you later.